Stan, what's happening? How you doing? Pontus, what's happening? How's everybody doing? How's your weekend? All right, I think we're just about set here. You ready? Here we go. So I did get, this is Ernie, what's happening? So this is, let me bring a HUD back up here. That is here it is. So this is field 2-7. We had potatoes in this field. And then we also had potatoes in 2-8 next to it. I brought all those in. I sold all but 100,000. We have about 20,000 in crates. There we go. We have about 20,000 in crates, and we have 70 to 80,000 in the barn. So we've got 100,000 liters of potatoes for our hypothetical pigs if we ever get any. And then I sold the rest. Man, I don't know how you're meant to make money with potatoes. I don't know how many potatoes you would need to sell to pay for that big self-propelled Grima harvester. A lot is the answer. I saw that, Pontus, but I didn't update. I don't know if I would be able to carry the save game over, and because we just started the series, and I don't know, I'm already feeling like I'm grinding. Those potatoes were kind of grindy, so I did not update. I don't want to lose this save game, but I will take a look. So thank you for the tip. I do appreciate it. Oh, well, let me see where we at. So I got this field cultivated. I got 2-7 cultivated. We need to get the cultivator going on field 2-8. And now I'm a little bit concerned because when we go here, right, to, I want to zoom in, there we go. When we go to precision farming, if we go to both pH and nitrogen, even though we grew crops and harvested them, it's, nothing's different. And none of these fields at the moment will take fertilizer. I'm concerned. I feel like precision farming may be bugged out, perhaps because we installed Mileage Plus after we... Mileage Plus? Wow. Man, I'm telling you, there's something wrong with my brain. I think I bumped my head. Maize Plus. We installed Maize Plus after our save game was started. So I don't know if there's any possibility of Maize Plus interfering with precision farming, or if it's just kind of a weird thing that it's doing, where none of the fields will take fertilizer or lime. I don't know. I'm really liking Chellington, and I am coming around to 19. A little bit more every time I play it. I'm coming around to 19. It is, I don't know. We'll talk about that during the stream today, because I mean, for me, I play a lot of different sim titles. I know some people focus on one title or one franchise almost exclusively. And I really do like to kind of spread myself around a lot of different types of sims. And what I find is things that happen in one sim can sort of influence the way I feel about other sims. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Fried. What is happening? Started over again, sold everything, and went to pig yard. I'm going to try to go 2 to 3 hours today, Stan. At least 2. And if everything is going well, and if I'm not putting it on you, it's not like that. It's not an ultimatum. But if chat is lively, if there's a lot of people in the chat, I'll keep it going for 3 hours. And 4 is kind of pushing it for me. But if the stream is going good, I don't mind sticking around. I've got no plans this afternoon. I got a big cup of coffee next to me. So I think we're all set. So 19. Yeah, I'm coming around to 19. I really, really am. I was so down on this game when it first dropped. And I did play it. I played it a few hundred hours that first year. So that would be what? The rest of 2018. And then 2019. And then toward fall of 2019, when Western Shore dropped, I uninstalled 19, and I was away from it for probably a solid year. I reinstalled it for precision farming, and the game they fixed things. I was going to say the game has evolved, but this isn't. Evolution makes it sound like something that happened on its own. They fixed it. They fixed a lot of stuff. ETS 2, I mean, we could do it tomorrow. I got the rest of the truck skinned. Everything but the Volvo. So right now I'm in a Renault T with a Krona tandem trailer, or a B tandem, whatever they call it. So we can do ETS tomorrow with the Renault T and the Krona trailer set. Pontus, I am not running any shaders. If I was, let's see if I can bring these up. If I was, it would look like this. Yep, that is with reshade. And I'm watching my preview here to see if that comes in. Can you even see that? Yeah, I don't think it changes it at all. I think XSplit is capturing upstream from reshade, so even when I apply reshade, you can't see it. Looks great to me though. Looks fantastic. So this is just, yeah, this is just absolute base game lighting and shaders. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's got the lighting on Chellington is custom, and it does look great. Yeah, I agree, Ernie. I was so down on the game. Let's get... I'm just sitting here yakking. Let's get started. Let's get some work done. So this is field 2-8, and we want field work. We need to generate a course. So we're going to be in field 2-8. We do want a headland, let's say twice around. We'll start on lengths. We don't have any islands. Generate a field course. How long do crops take to grow real time? Oh, there's a lot of variables. You can adjust crop speed growth. I don't know if you saw that. It is under this tab right here, the little tractor with the gear. You can speed up and slow crop growth independently of time. And then up in the top right corner, you can speed up and slow down time independently of crop growth. Did I say that right? So you have two ways to control how fast crops grow. One is the crops themselves, and another is the overall speed of the game. Oh no, it's behind us. Okay. So that is, I'd say that's the, that's those are the two sliders that you want to mess with. As far as real time, I don't know. I think it kind of varies for everybody as far as how you want your crops to grow. And then if you run seasons, I believe in seasons it disables the slider for crop growth. You no longer have access to that. And we need to, there we go. We need to get rid of that. So we go at first waypoint, stop when you're done, do not return, turn these off, turn those off. There we go. And see how our speeds are. We'll slow this down a little bit. 8 miles per hour. There we go. At the moment, I do not have seasons. If you're asking me, at the moment, I do not have seasons. Yeah, Pontus, it's taken me a long time to kind of wean myself off of seasons. And you know what? That could be, I would say, almost the theme of the stream today is mods. And I really continue to see more and more clearly that peak modding for all sims may have been like 2018, 2019. I feel like games are getting robust enough out of the box and with DLC, and modders are becoming goofy enough that a lot of people seem to be moving away from mods, both end users, right? Us as gamers and modders themselves. We seem to be, you know what I mean? It's not like it used to be. So this is the first time I've played without seasons in, I don't know, forever. Parrot, what's happening? This is the first time I've played without seasons in forever. And I think what did it for me was when we fired up the multiplayer server, we had seasons deactivated. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the idea that you can just sort of do whatever you want. And the thing is, I know myself well enough to know I won't abuse that. So I won't, it's not going to be silly. But it is nice to have a little bit of, latitude. Yep, I saw that. Yeah, it's Pontus, I know what you mean, and I think the first place I started kind of peeling away from mods was in Truck Sim. And it's because I didn't want to either lose completely or complicate my save game every time a patch came out. I want to be able to carry a save game through multiple patches, and particularly on the ETS side. With pro mods running, that becomes very difficult because, of course, the beta comes first. Then sometimes pro mods has their patch ready just as soon as the full retail patch comes. I call it full retail. I don't know what the technical term for it is. When it moves from beta to full release, pro mods would be like a week or so behind. but there's different windows in there, and I feel like I've built enough save games in ETS and ATS. I don't want to build another one. I just want to keep the same save game going. So that's where it started. And now on the X-Plane side, I'm fighting with mods, and I feel like I don't know, like I've kind of gone full circle on mods in X-Plane. I'm uninstalling them now. I'm trying to strip the game down and get it kind of basic again so it runs again. Yeah, and POTUS, I think because there's so many DLC now. It's like it's like ETS and ATS. You know, we needed pro mods. We needed aftermarket maps for a time because the maps were kind of small, but they're so big now. I don't really miss pro mods. And I feel like the trade-off to lose pro mods and some of the added areas that you get in the map, but to get back the simplicity and the stability, that's a good trade for me. Dorota, how you doing? Welcome. I am on PC. Let me see. I'm reading the chat and I'm yakking away here and I'm not getting anything done. What is the next thing we want to do? We can't apply any fertilizer right now because none of the fields will take it. Let's do a little mowing. Let's do a little mowing and put up some silage bales, try to make some money. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I believe field 3-4 and 3-5, we can start there. So let us take the sprayer off of... Yeah, let's take the sprayer off the JCB, and we'll use this. Oh, parkour. Here we go. See, I got a bunch of airports. Too many airports for X-Plane, and I was so disappointed with them. You know, I really don't do forestry. I have to say, if you're new to the channel, you might not know my relationship with forestry, but a lot of it comes down to picking up logs. So really, it's about my relationship with farm sim physics, or lack of. I don't do a whole lot of forestry. And if I do, I use the great big mechanized harvester, and that thing is so expensive to either lease or buy that it's, I don't know, probably not super realistic. Now, one thing I do like about forestry is you buy a plot of land, take all the trees down, make yourself £1 million or €1 million, and then sell that land for exactly what you paid for it. I think that's something they could fix in the game, that you can devalue land by taking the trees off it. So when you sell it, you only get what it's worth now, right? Like it deducts the value of the trees. So yeah, I did not have good luck with airports, and I also... I don't know. I mean, you see, when you buy the airport, you see that it's 2 gig, and then you find that you need to install a 10 gig library of assets. All right, so don't say 2 gig, say 12 gig. That's not 2 gig. And load order, X-Plane still uses load order. Yeah, Ernie, it's one of my biggest complaints about the game, and it's something that I hope they address in the next one. Oh, we've already got our mower. We've already got our mower. Here we go. So ultimately, I ended up with 2 airports. I ended up with Pilot Plus Gatwick, which is really good, and I ended up with a freeware version of Glasgow, which is really good, but everything else I uninstalled. My Dublin, my Belfast, my Cardiff. What was the other one? I want to add another one. But yeah, I uninstalled all those. They were just complicating the game. So I continue to kind of move away from mods, and I don't know if I'll ever move completely away. I don't think so. There's too many good mods, and there are too many mods that we do sort of need. But yeah, I uninstalled the 2 Airbus that I got, the 2 Tolus. They're nice, but I don't anticipate flying them very often, so why have them taking up space? So yeah, I just want to simplify my life. Simplify my gaming life. Right now, you know what? When I started the save game, I don't even think I switched it over. I'd usually play on hard, and it may be there by default. Help icons. Where are we at? Economic difficulty. Hard. There we go. And I really do like what Seasons brings in as far as economics. I would like to see this game require more planning, somewhere between where it is now and cattle and crops. I saw a notice. Looks like we're finally getting another map for cattle and crops, and I can't wait to try it. I really do love the concept of that game, but I feel like at the moment the execution of it is a little bit, a little bit hit or miss. There's so many good things about that game, and I think a good sort of compromise for me is just to think of it as early access. I know it's not early access, but just to think of it as a work in progress. How do we... If I wanted to be in this field right here, how would I get in there? I know we can get into this one right here. All right. We'll figure this out. Oh, just... scraping it in there. Beautiful. Yeah, you know what, Pontus? That's a really good call. And again, I don't know sometimes what my expectations are of realism for these games. But to me, it was always, just max everything out. Any realism settings, any difficulty settings, just max them out, and that will be the most realistic way to play. But I think what I'm understanding is it's not necessarily any more realistic, and sometimes it's not even fun. It's just kind of a pain in the ass, and it doesn't really... Oh, you know what? We can swing this right over behind there. Beautiful. It doesn't add much in the way of realism. It just complicates your life, makes the game feel grindy. And it's like you don't get much back for it. I really need to back the cruise control down. There we go. So like Seasons, moving away from that, at least for this save game. I don't know that I'm done with it forever, but at least for this save game we are. So why not turn off weeds? I think I feel, obligated maybe is a good word for it. That if we want to play realistically, then it needs to be... Right, you have to play it this way, or you have to do this. And, I'm the one who's always reminding other people, hey, however you want to play a game, that's the best way to play it. There's no hard and fast rule for how you have to play a video game. Play however you want. Play the way you want. But then I don't always take my own advice. Yeah, I agree with you, Ernie. I think it is... I don't know. There are some things in games where you just feel like they were sort of tacked on. It feels like it's not a fully realized component of the game or component of the sim. It's just sort of there. And weeds, horses, the dog. There are a lot of things in 19 that don't hit the gate. Oh, beautiful. There are a lot of things in 19 that feel like they're just sort of half done. They're not quite there. And weeds, as an idea, as a concept, they're great, but the fact that you just get an entire field full of perfectly spaced weeds, and then your yield is reduced by, I think, 30% for weeds. That has always struck me as not quite lazy, but you know what I mean? It just feels tacked on there, like the horses. So yeah, there's no reason we can't turn those off. And I will, if I do that, let's do it off camera. But no reason we can't. And man, I know I'm jumping around from like topic to topic here, but something else that I've noticed about X-Plane. So there's a payware add-on I got, and it is so the overarching mod is systems airport manager something. It's SAM, and what it does is it adds things to airports. And so I bought a payware pack of movable jetways. All right, so the jetway comes out and clamps on the side of the plane. The door opens, people go in and out. Great. But it only applies to some airports, and it needs to be, I guess, manually configured. So I bought this, I think I paid 20 bucks for it. I bought this $20 add-on, and it really doesn't do anything. It's not quite abandonware, but it's not implemented in every base game airport. So then I saw a freeware mod called AutoGate, which is the same concept, but kind of cooler. And it was my understanding that that was included in all or most payware airports, and it's not. So essentially I've got payware, I've got freeware, and it really doesn't do anything. You see a moving jetway, I don't know, maybe 10% of the gates that you pull up to. It's really not very often at all. And I got to wondering about, how that works out, and what I came up with. I just did some quick math. There's supposed to be like 30,000 airports in the game, 30,000 global airports in X-Plane. Now, most of them, in fairness, are procedurally generated, right? It uses stock assets that are in the library to snap together a building, 4 walls and a roof, and this represents the terminal, right? Throw some clutter around, some miscellaneous stuff around the airport. So they're not all hand-built. I get that. But if they wanted to put those jetways in, let's say half the airports in the world have moving jetways, that's 15,000 of them. And if it took an hour a piece, that's 15,000 hours. So most people work in the West, most people work about 2,000 hours a year. So you're talking about 7 people working full-time for a year just to add those jetways. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of payroll. And I don't think it's really going to matter to a lot of people. I don't think that's going to be a deal maker to buy X-Plane. Right? The people are looking at it like, well, if it doesn't have moving jetways, I'm not playing it. So for a developer, for Laminar, who makes X-Plane, there's really no reason to do that. And I think I need to keep that in mind when I think about some of the features that I'd like to see in these games. Like, what would that do for the game as a whole? And would it increase sales? Would it make the game better? Would people care? Do they want that? And I think for a lot of these, as important as they may be to us as realistic sim gamers, to a lot of people, it's like, you do what now? A what? They could care less. I've got one running right now for the Western Shore on 17. And it's not seeing a ton of use. I'm not ill about it or anything. I'm not mad. But if we're going to have an MP server, I want it to be one that does see a lot of use. So if we want to switch that over to 19, Ernie, Saint, if you're around, Fried, if you want to switch it over to 19, we can certainly do that. If you think a 19 server would be, I don't know, better, more fun than a 17 server, we can swap it. But I just got the invoice notice today. 2 weeks it's going to auto renew. So do let me know if you want to keep 17, if you want to let 17 lapse, if you want to switch it over from 17 to 19. Yeah, Pontus, I think you might be right. I think 17 is, it's sort of like X-Plane. It's kind of a nerd sandbox at this point. It is, it's attracting a unique type of very realistic, slow play, long play sim farmer. And I mean, I'm enjoying this save game that we're in right now. I did reinstall 19 for Purbeck Valley, but we still had seasons going and we were still locked into that, don't add any money, right? Start slow, grow the farm, do everything realistically. It's fun, but I don't know if it makes for good streams. Whereas the save game we're in now, we've cheated in a couple million euro, and we're still working, and I still want to be profitable. But I'm not getting hung up on how realistically we play. Yeah, I'd agree with that, Pontus. I don't want to go too crazy. Now, on the Western Shore, everybody started with, I want to say 500K. So we were all able to buy a little bit of kit and a couple of fields and have some starting point. And I think something similar on 19 would be perfect. And 19, correct me if I'm wrong here, 19 has a better built-in multiplayer functionality as far as like buying farms and owning your own equipment and doing contracts with one another, you don't need MP Manager on 19, I don't think. I was never really able to get MP Manager working. I'm told that the Frontier crew, that they may have a personal edit of that on their servers that works a little differently or a little better, but I personally was not able to get it working. Wooly, how you doing? I thought so, Fried. I had a feeling that it was. I remember we got, was it Greenwich Valley? Yeah, maybe. Myself, Owen, and Fred got Greenwich going probably a year ago. Hey, Taro, how you doing? Oh, wait. No, you're on a different server. I don't think I sent you an invite for our server. Okay, so you're on a server, but you're not on my server. All right. I'm trying to make sense of it in my head. Yeah, and I think that's the other thing is to try to be on an MP specific map. I know Western Shore is geared to MP, but I don't know. It's strange for me how every sim, that's what I was saying earlier, every sim feels like it can affect the way I feel about other sims in both good and bad ways. I know X-Plane has kind of ruined Train Sim World for me. I want my train sim experience to be similar to my flight sim experience. I feel like in train sim, you mostly just turn the trains on, right? Move the lever forward and then don't run red lights. And that's it. You really don't do anything. And I think there's more to it in real life. Now, I did have Zeusy, but I couldn't really get a handle on that either. Zeusy was tricky. But I feel like Zeusy is a proper train simulator, but it's a little bit dry, I have to say. It's a sim, not a game. And X-Plane, I know, people get furious about this. It's not a game. It's a sim. No, it's a game. They sell it on Steam and children play it. It's a game. Zeusy feels 100% like a sim. Had my stream on second monitor. You know, I do that too. I do that as well. And I will occasionally have somebody streaming a completely different title while I'm playing something. Yeah, Chellington. Chellington is really big. When I was going back and forth, let me hop in here for a minute. When I was going back and forth to sell the potatoes, best price we could get was, so our potato field is over here. Best price we could get was over here. It was taking a minute to get there. It doesn't feel like a big 4x German map, but it feels like there's some driving. It does feel like there's quite a bit of space to operate. So yeah, maybe that's the perfect compromise is we keep the server up and just switch it from 17 to 19. Because I do want it to get use, you know, and it's not just for the money. I want it to be, I don't know, an asset for the community. Y'all are super cool. You show up for the streams. And if there's something I can do for you in return, I would love to. But I want it to be something that works for you. And if nobody's spending any time on the server, that means we need to reconfigure and find something that works better for y'all. All baling contracts go to the top farm. Now, is there a way? I don't think Owen and Fred and I got into this when we had Greenwich going. But is there a way that you can have contracts? I know you can in the MP Manager mod that we had, but is there a way to do that in native FS19? Because that's when I think about creating a working economy with 4 or 5 or 6 players, I feel like something that would make the economy really work well is when everybody is able to sort of profit from their strengths. You know, so if you're, I don't know, if you really love fertilizing and cultivating or something, you buy that equipment, you set that rig up, and the other 3 or 4 or 5 players on the map, the best use of their money is to contract with you to do that work for them. That's when they get the best value. So they get the best value. You make the most money. It looks like I'm just driving randomly here, but I'm trying to get this thing flipped around. I think I went to the wrong side. Oh dear. Now I've done it. All right, I'll do that then. I don't think I can switch it mid-invoice. What am I trying to do here? I just want to back this thing up. I don't think I can do it mid-invoice, but figure about the second week of February, we'll transition over from 17 to 19, and let's get a Chellington MP going. And I think, I mean, we'll talk. We could chat in the Discord. Anybody who's not a part of the private, let me see, we need to be over here. Anybody who's not a part of the private multiplayer channel, DM me, and I will add you, and we can figure out what we want to do. Same as we did for Western Shore, we can figure out what we want to do for mods, start money, all that sort of stuff. And that's also where I'll pass sign in, log in, passwords, that sort of stuff. What will be posted on Discord? There's a private channel on Discord for MP. So just DM me and I'll add you, and then we can sort out what we're doing. Yeah, give it another week or 10 days till that first invoice is paid, and then we switch over. There's no reason to have two running at once if one of them isn't getting used a whole lot. So we'll switch it in another week or so. All right. There it is. There's the flute song. Hang on. There we go. Yes, it'll be posted in Discord. I think that's the best place for it. And there's also when you get added to the, and hopefully I'm not making this sound like some kind of exclusive thing. It's not what I'm going for. But when you get added to the MP channel, you also get access to the private MP voice. So I think last time we used Discord for voice as well. I mean, everybody's on Discord now, so I think that works the best. Certainly the easiest. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Fried. Or even DLC only. I mean, is base game with DLC, is it big enough that we could just do it that way? I wouldn't mind. You know, it keeps it simple. I think the problem is if you don't own all the DLC, now it's like money out of pocket, and I try to be mindful of that. You know, everybody's got a budget, and the idea of dropping, well, I guess the best value is to get the season pass, but that's $30. You know, that if you don't have a DLC, you'd have to drop $30. And I would never want to put anybody in that position. So if everybody's got the DLC, maybe we could do that. And if anybody does not have the DLC, or if they don't want to buy a DLC, I don't know, we'll figure out mods or something. No, you're right. And even stuff like Proceed, I think I got Proceed working. If we get to any planting today, we'll test it out. But I did what you have to do. I did the thing, and I think I got it working. But we'll see. And I think the problem is because I have the dual monitor set up now, that it's putting Proceed in the lower right corner. Well, when you're running a single monitor, lower right corner is what you can see down in the corner of this setup right now. But when you have dual monitor, lower right is like, you know what I'm saying? It's over yonder. It's not, you can't see it. And because it's outside the EXE, I can't even see it on my other monitor, which would be odd, but I can't see it at all. So I'm going to take a look up here. I can't find the entrance to this here field. So what was I upset about? Oh, here it is. All right. Train Sim. Yeah, TSW. There's a new DLC dropping for Train Sim World 2 next week. It's a British high-speed route, but I'm not going to get it. I've found that lately the Train Sim videos really don't do that well on the channel. Well, I say videos, but it's live stream now. They really don't do super well, and I wouldn't be buying it for me. I would just be buying it for the channel, but it's not a video that's going to get a lot of interest. Farm Sim Gaming, how you doing? All right, I think let me adjust my angle a little bit. We seem to be not good. So I'm going to skip it. I know I got that Marseille Avignon, is it LGV? TGV? I got that. I played it a few times, but I mean, I just feel like when you compare it to something like X-Plane or even FS20, there's just not enough interactivity with the trains. You essentially turn them on, And even with the HUD turned off, there's just not a lot to do. So there is Zeusy, but Zeusy is really limited. The graphics are pretty utilitarian. And I want to say one route, just like 100K of route. Scenery is not very good. And there's one or maybe two different rolling stock that you can run. Really not a whole lot, but that's not what it's made for. It's not a fun, entertaining sim. It's a training tool for train operators. It does have that full level of interactive operations, I guess. Mods should have priority over DLCs. Yeah, you're right, Ponus. You're right. Is the stream still up? Did we drop? My preview went away. Let me know if we're still running. Doing good. 20 subs now. Hell yeah, man. Hang on. Let me actually drop the mower. Works better when you drop it. Here we go. Still here? Okay, cool. My preview drops out. I've got it on a very, very old, tired laptop, and it's perfect use for it. But it is. I think that the buffer gets full sometimes, or it overheats or something. I don't know. So yeah, I don't. Oh, now it's stopped completely. Hang on. Moment. Lean over here and do this. There we go. So yeah, I would say the bloom is off the rose for me for Train Sim World 2. I just feel like, I don't know, it's sort of played out for me. And even the idea of new DLC, it's just, I don't know. It's not doing it for me. I think they traded away a lot of the detail of the game when they made it more console friendly for TSW2. Or I guess for TSW at all, when they moved from the Train Simulator title, Train Simulator franchise, and sort of started to run it in parallel with Train Sim World, the original Train Sim World, CSX Heavy Haul, and now Train Sim World 2. But between the two franchises, I feel like the one that looks the best is the one that has a lot less detail and a lot less control, but it's a lot more console friendly. So, you know, Dovetail's got to do what they need to do to make money. I respect that. But spending all that time in X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator, where you do have a lot more control, and it feels like there's a lot more that can go wrong. You know, you're solving a lot more problems and different kinds of problems. Whereas in Train Sim World, it's either just, like I said, either not running red lights, right, trying to mind the signals and keep the speed correct, or doing yard work where you're just hopping in and out, hooking up, unhooking, hooking up, unhooking, but it's not necessarily, I don't know. I feel like it's right between Truck Sim, where you don't really do anything, and Flight Sim, any modern flight sim, where you have to do everything. It's just sort of in a gray area, a dead zone, no man's land. But it's not doing it for me anymore, and I feel really bad because I love that title so much when it was CSX Heavy Haul, and I just kind of fell away from it. You know, I don't know if that's me evolving or the game changing or a combination of both, but do I have crop destruction turned off? Do I? Hang on. When I get to the end of this headland, I will take a look. I think, yeah, you're right. I turned it off for potatoes and never turned it back on. That I would like to leave on. We may turn weeds off, but I think having crop destruction on is kind of, I don't know. That's just a given. We don't need to play super realistically, but somewhat. And we don't own that field right there. I think we're going to hold off on that one because that is a very big field. Destroy grass with Maze Plus. All right, let's turn it on right now. Let's find out. I'm going to flip around the other way, and that we'll be driving over our row. Goes back one growth stage. Yeah, that's, let me see. That on release day, so we'll go here first. On release day, I feel like whatever it was, people wanted it to be the opposite. Does that make sense? Crop destruction is on. I feel like on release day, you did not destroy grass and people wanted it turned on, or it may have been the opposite. I know there was one of those farm sim debates about it. Because some people were saying in real life, if you roll over grass, it flops down, and a minute later it pops back up. It doesn't die. So I think the compromise they came to was to have it lose a little bit of yield, but not be crushed completely. All right. And I don't know how realistic this is in real life, but especially with this thing and the way it likes to jackknife, what I tend to do is, like I was doing with the potatoes, I just do the outside lengths, and that way we're not driving over any crop. We do have to deadhead a little bit back and forth across the top of the field, but we're not doing a bunch of crazy three-point turns, and we're not driving over any crop. So it may not be realistic, but it seems like kind of an appropriate way to mow. And what we'll do is, just to mix things up a little bit, we'll get done with this field. So that's 2, and then we'll go hop on the rake. Get these 2 fields rowed up, and then probably bale them. Let's do silage bales, because we don't own the BGA. And we can keep some and sell some. Because we don't... yeah, we did put up hay bales. We did put up straw bales. If we put up silage bales, we can make TMR. So I think we're getting everything teed up. Like we saved the potatoes, or some of the potatoes, in case we get pigs going. So we're... You know what I mean? We're getting our ducks in a row. Trying to plan ahead. And I'm trying to think what else. I have to say, I am excited about a new map for cattle and crops. And I hope, because the map that we have now, Albertal, is what, like 4 years old, 5 years old? I think that's the original map that they made. And I feel like it was more of almost like a test platform. I don't know that they built that map to be beautiful and scenic and immersive. I think they built it just because they needed a place to test the game. So I'm hoping the next map that they make, I'm not expecting it to be like award-winning quality, but just that it would have a little bit more life to it. Now, admittedly, they are German. So it could be that even the new map is not the most scenic or the most decorative. And we're going to, I can see the warning down there, so we're going to pause this right here. Turn that off. Turn that off. Let's go sort out the John Deere. I assume it's caught on something. So, so whether it's amazing or not, I think it's at least going to be better. Where's our guy? Sir? There he is. I think it's at least going to be better. And we're supposed to get some new equipment. I mean, that's different. What you doing, buddy? What are you doing? All right. So go back here. Turn these on. Like so. Galaxy, what's happening? So they came down here. They came down here. And then we're going up this way? Yeah. I mean, I think I would put it on a timer. That if the vehicle is applying the... Now where's he go? So he comes up to here and then back here, sir. This may not be 100% perfect when it's done. As long as it's good enough, I'm okay with it. And I continue to hope for the best for cattle and crops. I really want that game to be successful. Making a turn. Sir. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen cattle and crops do that before. Take 2 swings at a turn. Normally they just kind of arc around it. All right. I don't know what's happening right now. We may need to clean this up a little bit, but at least they're working. There they go. I do want Cattle and Crops to be successful. I mean, I love the idea of it, and the best way that I can describe it, as I have before, is to say it feels like an early access title right now. I think it can be something amazing, but at the moment it's got a lot of... the game requires a lot of balancing. When I played it, it seemed very narrowly focused on some aspects of the mission, I guess. How do you want to describe it? It seems, if anything, overly focused on the idea of fertilizing everything, and the fertilizer has to be absolutely perfect. I mean, I like the idea of enhancing the complexity of the fertilizer, but you don't need to go, you know what I'm saying? You don't need to go DEFCON 1. It's absolutely over the top. And it seems like it's going to be very, very difficult to make enough money to fertilize your crops. And that seems a bit out of balance. Now, it could be that it's just super, super finite, and that if you can find the sweet spot, then it's a piece of cake. And the trick is to find the sweet spot. But I don't know, man. It's like one mistake, one miscalculation, and that field is not quite ruined, but it's got a lot of problems. And there's really no way to fix them. You can't unfertilize a field. True in real life. So I get that. But, you know, it's not real life. It's a video game. So I do think there needs to be a little bit of balancing sometimes. And I remember having a friendly argument, a discussion, a debate with somebody about Farm Sim. And they were saying, you know, it needs this, it needs this, it has to have these things because it needs to be ultimate realism. And I told them, if you really want it ultimate, if you go bankrupt, your serial number expires and you can't play the game anymore. Because that's what happens in real life when you go bankrupt. You know, we've got to make exceptions in gaming, or it's just no fun. Right? It'd be like saying if you wanted to drive from New Mexico to Washington in ATS, that it would take you 20 real hours. You know, it might take you 10 sessions. Well, nobody's going to do that. There's got to be time compression. Time doesn't compress in real life, but it's completely appropriate in that title. So I'm all for that. I like the idea of realism, but I think in some titles it's not entirely possible. That's when you end up with feelism. It just needs to feel realistic. It doesn't have to be realistic. As long as my brain is fooled, I'm happy. And our hired worker drove across the top of the field and then stopped, so I think I may have not put them on the path they needed to be on. So we'll go ahead and finish this field. We will go mess with Courseplay and the John Deere, get them sorted out so they can finish that field, and then we'll hop on the rake. And I think... Yep, we've got 4 arable fields. So now all 4 of them are cultivated, limed, fertilized, plowed. Yep, I think we're good. Okay. And yeah, that's everything on my list. We're still waiting on an actual release date for Iberia. It's just coming soon. And then Wyoming is back to TBA. So who knows when those will be available. But I'm not hurting for content on either ETS or ATS. I still haven't got 100% discovery on either of those maps. And I know my ATS has been, we're what, 1.39? I think that's a 1.37 save game. So I've had quite a while, at least a year, and I'm only up to about 85% of the map. I don't plan on going and manually driving like every single road in every little town, but there's some decent highways that connect major cities that we just haven't been on. We've been to both the cities on either end. We just haven't actually used every highway that goes between them, so we can continue working on that. But yeah, the maps are so big now, I'm not hurting for content. And I know we're supposed to get more trucks for ETS this year. I don't know if that's a rumor. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but looking forward to that. I'm really liking the new way they're modeling the trucks and the sound as well. I feel like the new sound is really, really good too. All the base game trucks sound so good. I'm not running any engine packs, which is also a first for me. I think since I've been in the franchise, which is like 1.8 1.26. That was the first game that I came back to when I got back into gaming. So it's been 4 years, maybe a little over. And it's only been the past few months that I'm running without sound packs and engine packs. Right through there. And when this field is done, say turn off weeds. What do you think? I think we can. Yeah. I think the reason, and you may have even said this, Ernie, I think the reason they don't do that is because the games are tied so closely to real world products that Scania would not want to represent their trucks as having had emission controls removed and some kind of EEPROM flash on the injector mapping, and not exactly street legal. I feel like those companies are super mindful of branding and how they appear to the public, and they want at all times to be, good companies. Even in video games. And I've heard that about smoke. People say they want smoke. They want the trucks to make smoke. And the response is, well, modern trucks really don't make smoke because you don't want them to. So I don't know any company, Scania, Mercedes, I don't know any company that would want to see their trucks in a video game rolling coal. That would be not good. Got to protect the brand at all costs. And that's the same reason we don't have dirt. Now, damage, I don't think it really applies to damage. I agree that the manufacturers would not want to see their trucks damaged, but I don't, as far as dirt, I think even something as, it seems minor, but they just always want their products reflected in the best possible light. Yeah, there you go. Exactly, Fried. I've heard the same thing myself. I don't know how accurate that is, but it does fit. It makes perfect sense that you would want everything to be just, like a commercial, like an ad, which is essentially what this kind of licensing is. To have your products in game. I don't know if any of these companies see business from this type of placement. I would think that people would want to be advertising in Truck Sim, and I don't know why they don't. When you're driving down the highway, I don't know why you can't see billboards for real products that companies have paid to have placed there. And particularly if they were different, right? If there was a static billboard that was never different, eventually you would get numb to it. But if the billboards were constantly changing, not changing before your eyes, but you know what I mean. Every time you drive through that city, it's a new billboard. Or the digital billboards that change every 10 or 15 seconds in real life, that sort of thing. I'm guessing there's a reason. People in marketing and advertising think of everything, any possible way to sell a product. They will somehow come up with a creative way to do it. So I don't know what the reason is that we don't have that type of advertising in video games. But to me, it seems like a no-brainer. You would definitely want that. I guess it may have something to do with international, right? Because you don't really know who's going to see it. And that is something that before people buy ad space, one of the things they want to know is who's going to see this and do they represent the market that I'm trying to influence. So when you buy a video game, who knows where that person is ultimately going to play it. And right, if you're paying to have a placement, do they even sell my product in your country? Is there any possibility of you buying it? Because if there's not, that's just wasted money. All right, so we get flipped around here. And I didn't really plan it this way, but I realized that just about all of the kit we're using is from the Kverneland pack. And I think between Kverneland and then the Alpine Farming, I think that's my favorite equipment in the game at the moment. Same way the Kuhn DLC was for 17. I thought it was really well done. Although, of course, no hose. Still a controversy all these years later. And then we've got this one right here. We may or may not get to this today. Oh, easy. Easy. Forgot to make my turn. I was about to drive through the hedge. The Cavernaland and the Alpine. It may look like I'm just driving in circles. It may look that way. There we go. I was a big fan of the Horse Pack for 17 as well. I really like that one. And what was the other one? I like the Ropa DLC, but I felt like it only made sense if you were going to cheat money in. It's sort of like the, is it the Bordeaux Pack? Yeah, I think that's the other DLC with the massive equipment in it. The 75-foot planter, 75-foot drill, the air cart. The stuff is so unbelievably expensive. I don't know what type of farm you would be running where you could make money with it. And I can't imagine how big the fields would be and how big the yield would have to be. Man, I'm really struggling with these turds. I feel like the quality of the DLC, I mean, it's sort of base game because it's made by Giants, but I feel like the quality of the equipment has improved a lot since the game dropped. I really like the modeling. I like the lights on the vehicles in 19 as well. I think they're the new lighting system that they came up with for, because the other, let me see, the other system for 17 is you've got the two components. You've got the actual beam itself, and then you've got the corona. And I feel like that was not, in hindsight, I mean, it was great at the time. It was great when there was no other alternative. But that system, compared to the system they use in 19, I feel like is just not quite the same. It's not nearly as good. So I like the modeling. I like the detail in the vehicles and implements. Animations. They seem to fold and unfold a little bit slower than 17, maybe. I've been saying for a year plus, I'm not down on 19, I just prefer 17. And now I feel like I need to clarify exactly the opposite. I'm not giving up on 17. I love 17. But, I don't know. Maybe as I've continued to kind of evolve my gaming, I have enough other super serious sims, iRacing and X-Plane, that maybe I need farming to be a little bit less serious now. A little bit more fun. The only type of farming I really know is farm sim farming. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of agriculture in Pennsylvania, but it's more family farm scale. There's not a whole lot of the big square and rectangular industrial fields that you're talking about. So I sort of grew up around smaller, irregularly shaped fields, but I never really thought about it. It was just something that was in my world. And then when I got into farm sim, my favorite map when I started playing was Bjornholm. I always say it wrong. Bjornholm? Nordholm. The base game map for 15. I thought that was just beautiful map, right? I loved it. So I'm very much used to irregular fields. Data folder. Bjornholm. Yeah, that was not the best time of my life, and I really did. It was so nice in the evening to just kind of post up on Bjornholm, turn my brain off, and enjoy myself. Big B, how you doing, man? K-Dog, you're missing your data folder. More information, please. What game? What sim? I bet we can track it down for you. Good, good. Glad to hear it. And, oh, you know what? Hang on. Let's get this thing off the road. I was just about to stop. FS19? Let me see. Now, are you talking about the one in... So there's going to be your install folder. And then there's going to be the folder in My Docs. Offhand, I'm thinking data folder is where the game files are, like the actual game code. I think that's the one that's in your Steam install, but I could be wrong. This little cutoff back here is so bumpy. There we are. All right, so let's get this flipped around. Well, we may as well park this thing. We're close enough. No need to leave it sitting out here while we go deal with the John Deere. If it's on Steam, just do a verify. Verify game files and it'll replace it. Yeah, it's two separate processes. So if you do a verify and it'll fix everything that is in your Steam folder, but it won't mess with the stuff that's in my docs, so you won't lose any of your mods or save games. But if you want to be extra careful, just grab your FS19 folder from my docs and copy it to your desktop or something, just in case. Not likely that you would lose anything while verifying, but it has been known to happen. All right, so let's go deal with John Deere right now. I don't know if you saw when we brought up the points for this field, but they were really kind of complicated. They folded back and forth on themselves several times. So I think the track that I put it on, I thought that was going to be a couple of headlands, and it wasn't. Somehow it was not. This is a decent-sized field. And I want to say, yeah, these are probably similar in size to the fields on the Western Shore. And I think the difference is now... right, there he is. I think the difference is now we're going, I'd say between 2 and probably 350 horsepower we'll max out at. We may do a Challenger. I've been thinking about that. I've got... Is it this one? I want to say I've got the Stealth. No, it's got to be here. Yep. We got this thing. That is, it's, yeah, 400 horsepower. But I never use this thing, and I do like it. So maybe we'll get one of those going. Have some fun for once. All right, so we need to go in here, and then we need to track down where the rest of this is. Go right up in here. Turn this off. And then turn this on. All right. Yeah. The Pursuit Special. Here's your problem. I thought this went back this way. This is where we wanted to go. Okay. So if we go here now, nearest waypoint. Nope. Sir. Stop. Just stop. I don't know how this works out. I really don't. I mean, is this not the nearest waypoint? Try one more time. There we go. That's the one I wanted. See? See how easy? All right, so we'll let this keep running. And while it's running, I think my favorite post-apocalyptic tractor is this one. Where is it? There we go. If James Cameron needed a tractor for an Aliens movie, it would look like that. I love it. All right. So we'll let this keep running. And we're going to hop on our rake. I'm going to have some coffee too. Hang on. So our rake, we can, yeah, we'll just stay in the JCB for that. Yeah, it's got sort of a menacing presence to it. I don't know. And I don't know how popular those are in real life. I know the Zarians, I've seen some videos of people using Zarians. But that, I think it's the 3800, the cab forward 3800. I mean, I'm sure somebody uses them. They made them, so somebody must have bought them, but I don't know how popular they are. And I think you can get Claas in the United States, but very few people do. It has to be, it comes in through a Mercedes dealer or something. I don't know. There's some very, very complicated process. It's not easy. Right? I mean, we all, hang on, let me get this hooked up. Just because you grow old doesn't mean you have to grow up, right? I'm betting there's some goth farmers. Let me see. We go here. Hang on. We go this way. Yep, and through this gate, which I left open conveniently. We don't have any animals. It's not the end of the world. I feel terrible about it, though, so I need to close it right away. Oh, see? now you got to go there. What was the... they did a live set where Peter Murphy was, like, hanging upside down. Ozfest or Lollapalooza. Some festival tour. And then is it here? Oh, careful. And then, yep, right here and right here. Okay. No, but now I want to. That sounds fun. I listened to Stop Making Sense end to end. Listened to the whole CD, the whole show. And the thing that struck me was, it's got to be 40 years old now. When did Stop Making Sense come out? 80s, at least, early 80s. But the thing that I realized is everything David Burns and Talking Heads were doing was so weird. It doesn't really sound dated. 81? Yeah, it doesn't sound like oldies because there's nothing to compare it to. There's no base of reference. It was so different and so weird at the time, and still that there's nothing to really compare it to. Yeah, they really were. Okay, so cruise control is set. All right, let's do this. Let's do what we've been doing. Let's do one headland to make a little bit of room. And then we'll go, probably hop in the Claas. Throw the baler on. Come out and bail up the outside row just to make some room. And then we can do our lengths without driving back and forth over our own row. Okay, let's try that. Man, do not trust the Spotify algorithm. I dialed in some Mars Volta the other day, and within, I don't know, like 5 or 6 songs, it was playing My Bloody Valentine. Clearly there's been a mistake. That needs to be fixed. I guess they were just figuring all metal is just lumped together. But yeah, I could not get to the skip button fast enough. And even Mars Volta, I'm finding, is not... Listen to Mars Volta and it sounds like nothing else you've ever heard, and then you listen to some old Yes or old Zappa and it's like, oh, right. So they didn't actually invent this. really? Yeah, that's not my favorite kind of metal. But in fairness, I don't think Mars Volta is anybody's favorite kind of anything. It's like even people that like Mars Volta don't really like Mars Volta. That is way out there. All right, so I'm going to fold this so when we come back around with the baler, we're not running into it. And then we'll scoot it over here as far to the right as possible. Okay. So leave this here. I'll leave the motor running because it's been working kind of hard. Yeah, exactly. It's like as soon as I hear somebody start talking about Ween or Dead Milkman or something, I just tune out. I know where this is headed. Let me guess. You only like the stuff with the original drummer. And only on vinyl. Yeah, this isn't too far. We can run this. I've been teleporting a lot. Normally I don't teleport at all. I've been teleporting a lot, so let's try to get out of the habit. We're not too far from the farm. This is such an immersive map. It really, really is. I have to say it doesn't have as much detail as some of the Bullet Bill maps, but you can definitely see that these two collaborate. It's got a very similar feeling. Through here. Oh, no, not you. Not you. I just meant in general. Yeah, I grew up around musicians, and the thing that strikes me about proper musicians is they're into everything. You know, they just know everything, every style, every genre, every era. They just love music in general. You rarely meet a musician who's like, oh, I only listen to this or I only listen to that. 600 vinyl? Hell yeah, man. It seems like the only people that are exclusive about music are people that don't create it. The only people that are dismissive about a genre are people that don't actually make music themselves. What are we looking for? Our baler. I think it's back here. I mean, I get the argument, and I agree with it completely. I think there is a warmth to vinyl, but it's, you know, it's like saying I'll only drive an air-cooled 911. I mean, I would drive any 911 I could get my hands on. If it happened to be air-cooled, so much the better, but I'm not going to turn one down. And I know MP3 and streaming music they really step on the quality compared to lossless, but if it's a choice between that and carrying around, I don't even know what you carry around, an old Sony mini disc player? I mean, I guess you could go lossless on the internal storage on a phone, could you? I don't know if you could or not. If you can have FLAC files play on like an Android. Unknown. Yeah, it's such a different experience to try to explain to somebody who's never been to a record store the process of going home with a shrink-wrapped LP and razoring that little cut, right? Because you don't want to take the shrink wrap all the way off. Hang on, you remember my key code here. And that there are liner notes, and there is I don't know, just the whole process of it. Okay, I mean it still doesn't quite compare, but lossless is at least the difference between lossless and MP3. If you've got the right ADA and the right system to listen to it on, it is noticeable. We're looking for VCA all-wheel drive. Of course, it's all the way at the bottom. Makes sense. VCA. Here we go. VCA. Come on now. All the way at the bottom, huh? Okay. Let me see. Front diff, lock, unlock, control, left control, right bracket. All front wheel drive, left control, apostrophe, back diff, unlock, left control, slash. Okay. So that looks like right through here, left control. Okay. So there's all wheel drive. Let's see if this works. Not even a little bit. All right. And that is, do we not have diffs on this? Hang on. So we want to go here. Swap front and rear axle. No? I mean, it says we do. See if we can get a run at it. Doesn't want to do anything. See if we can really get a run at it. And I am seeing that little warning message there. Our John Deere is continuing to slip. Anything? Nope. We'll have to go the other way. I mean, this thing's not that heavy, but it is a pretty gnarly hill. Okay. Well, we'll get sorted out back here carefully. No jackknife. Yeah, it's definitely a different experience, but it's a trade-off. Of course, it's a trade-off. And the thing that I like now is you're not limited by budget to albums and a certain genre of music or a certain type of categorization. And when you ask millennials what kind of music they listen to, they're like, all of it. What do you mean, what kind? All of it. Everything. And that was not an option when you had to be more selective about what it was that you were bringing into your collection. So I do think that's exposed a lot of people to a lot of music that they would not otherwise have been able to access. And if the price of that is a reduction in quality or losing some of that analog experience, that's, I don't know, probably a good trade-off at the end of the day. I think so. I could be wrong. But I do miss the vinyl experience. Trying to stay in my lane here. Oh dear. Hang on. I'm gonna reset the track IR. There we go. Yeah, agreed. And it's certainly put the pressure on me as well. I'm not a millennial, but it's put the pressure on me to expand my horizons and try to keep up. You know, I think it's a shame when anybody, how do I want to say this, gets lazy about life. You know, it's like when you see somebody who's obviously not in high school wearing a leather jacket. Come on now. Best years of your life should be today, not 5 years ago. And anytime I meet somebody who only listens to the music they listened to in high school, not joking when I say this, not exaggerating, I steer clear of them. That is, to me, that is not necessarily a person that I want to know. Oh, 81, huh? Oh, that's too bad. All right, here we go. And this is grass, so these are going to wrap. And this is actually a pretty fat swath, I have to say. That's 100% right there. And we went about 100 feet, maybe less. So yeah, we're going to get a lot of bales out of these little fields. Okay. We can use them. We'll keep half and sell half. And we'll be that much closer to... We don't have a ton of hay, though. We've got that one big field right behind us right there. Can't see it. It's on the other side of the hedge. But if we were to bring that in as all hay, then I think we'd be covered for sheep as well. Yeah. Man, it's all blurring together. We're postmodern. We're end of history. We're just about post-time. Let's see where it all leads. Man, I keep seeing that little warning blinking on and off. As soon as we're done with this headland, we'll go up and tend to the John Deere one more time. See how it's doing. And I think... Well, we're not on season, so I guess we can start planting a field. Yeah, let's do that. We'll finish up with this headland. We'll go check on the John Deere, see how they're doing. Get them done with that field. Return the cultivator to the yard. And then we'll put some kind of a planter on there. Let's figure out what we want to grow. And again, we're not on season, so we can plant anything we want. Let's do something different. Let's do sunflower or something. Something we never do because of seasons. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I bet we get 10 bales just from this headland. All right. I mean, it may be a little OP without... Oh, you know what we can do? Hang on, I just realized something. You know what we can do is we can make hay pellets. Because I think we're running straw harvest. Yeah. It's very strange for me to think that as crazy as my life is right now, that this is like a tenth of what it used to be. Like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the things that were happening in my world were just so absolutely over the top. And it's everything's kind of calmed down a little bit. So I'm enjoying the downtime. And I don't know if it's ever going to go back to what it was. And it wasn't The Wire or anything. I wasn't into some like crazy lifestyle. It was, you know, no wife, no kids, and I love to travel. And at any given moment, I could find myself living anywhere in the world. I've lived in 17 U.S. cities and 11 states and about a dozen countries. And it's just, you know, when you're willing to move every 9 months, that's the latitude that you have. So I miss that, but ultimately it was probably not sustainable indefinitely. So it's different to be kind of settling down. But I do miss it, and I don't know where I'm going to be next year. I don't know if this is going to last, or if the chaos will start up again. Yeah, that is... I don't regret the mistakes that I made in my life, because the things that I know now, I really know. You know, don't touch a hot stove, you'll burn yourself. Yeah, are you sure? Well, let me show you the scar. I'm absolutely sure. Where's that John Deere at? Up here. So that is, that's a good thing. I do appreciate that. And fortunately, I didn't get dogmatic about it. So if somebody wants to point out to me that I'm wrong about something, I am more than happy to listen. It says they're still, yeah, they're caught on something. Okay. But I think we can do this one last little bit here manually. Sir? Yeah, that needs to time out. That after 10 or 15 seconds, it just turns off. All right, so we'll stop this. We'll cancel this. There we go. And let's... I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but there's one little area right here. So we'll knock this out. And take this down and drop it at the yard. All right, done. Now I don't know, I mean, we can try again. But I don't know that we're going to be able to... I made that last turn pretty sharp. In real life, that would have snapped the tines off this poor cultivator. I don't know if we can fertilize. I mean, we can try one more time. Because I know if you want to get full fertilization, you have to fertilize before you plant. But every time that I've tried to fertilize these fields, it has not accepted it. So I feel like it's either bugged out, and I hope it's not. Because we had a cursed Purbeck Valley save game. I don't need another one. Favorite crop? Canola, maybe? Because you can plant it so early and you can plant it as a winter crop. Oh, no worries, K-Dog. The only thing after the Microsoft Flight Simulator 20 debacle, before I verify anything, I do hop on Reddit right quick and see. Least favorite crop? Potatoes. Potatoes or sugar beets, just because they're so slow. And if you've got any kind of difficulty cranked up on the economy, I find it's really, really difficult to make money with those. They seem like almost an end game kind of crop, but the way that the game is structured, you can do anything anytime you want, so there is no end game per se. So you can start with potatoes if you want, but it just seems like a crazy amount of time and money to invest, and you don't get sugarcane. That's no crop. You know what? I wanted to check that. Is that stuff still even in here? Yeah, it is. I feel like part of me like blanked this out. Wow. Poplars. I've got the Anderson equipment pack and I've got the poplar baler. Oh, that's the other thing I want to take a look at. Hang on. I'm scattered right now. If we go here and we go here to baling technology, do we have the pellet maker? Because I think straw harvest is native to the game now. Yeah, we sure do. The Premos 5000 only requires 1 million horsepower. All right, Fried. See you in a bit. Sir, you need to relax. I used the pellet maker on PGR Bruzda in like the biggest field, and I swear by the time I was done, I wanted to throw myself out a window. It took me probably, I couldn't do it manually because it was a row that needed to be picked up, so I couldn't put it on Courseplay or anything. I had to do it manually. I had like a 500 horsepower tractor. It couldn't move a 350 horsepower implement. I was seriously going 1 mile per hour, and I had it set to manual water and manual molasses, so I had to keep refilling it. And at the end of it all, I ended up with that giant field. It gave me like, I don't know, 60,000 liters of straw pellets or something. And I sold them for 80 bucks or something. Really? You broke my heart, Fredo. I want to like the Straw Harvest DLC so bad, but I feel like I'm just trapped in the sunk cost fallacy. Like I paid money for this. Well, I did in 17. I got it for free in 19. I paid money for this, and therefore I'm going to like it. But yeah, other than the one round baler, Straw Harvest seems to be lacking. It just seems like it's not, I don't know. But now, all these years later, I come full circle. I buy some Aerosoft airports, and they're kind of not great, and not very good. If I lower this, is it going to try to unfold it? Nope. Drop that right there. And we want now... Oh, it's amazing. There's a guy in the Discord, Fred, who posts vintage and historical ads for agriculture equipment. And to see how small this stuff was and what they were... Like what the manufacturers were talking about as far as, you know, this is the newest and greatest way that you can do this now. It is now, you know, 40 horsepower, that sort of thing. And it's just unimaginable how hard people used to have to work for a tenth the yield. All right, so if we go here now and set our store delivery right there, and we go here, we're going to go planters because we want to put, what do we say, sunflower seed? Let's see if there's anything from, ooh, there is. And it fertilizes. This one does not. 12 meters, 9 meters. Let's go 9 meters. 12 meters is awfully big. All right. Do I want to purchase it? Sure. All right. And then as far as capacity, 2720, but I don't know which is which. Oh, we've got, hang on. We've got, don't forget, we've got many, many seed pallets in there. Yeah. And the idea that it was all done in an era with completely different healthcare, medical treatment, technology. That the both the near-term treatment, as far as not injuring yourself while you're doing it, and the treatment if you did injure yourself while you're doing it, both of them were a lot less sophisticated than what we got now. We'll throw the front weight back on here because we're not going to have a front tank. So we can grab this. That's like a 9-fingered shop teacher, right? Clearly you started doing this in the era before guards, before all those safeties were on the equipment. And I think GPS not active. Okay, let's activate it. So that is Control S, Alt S, Alt C. There we go. Something Alt. And I think we'll be able to back this thing up close enough to those because the... Let me see. Which of these... Can we open these? Can we? Set tramline distance. Oh, there it is. We got our proceed menu back. Hell yeah. Open cover is left button and here. All right. So it's just that one. I want all the other ones to open. We're in a bit of an Austin Powers situation here. Moment. We'll get this sorted out. There we are. So if this thing holds 2,720 liters and we fill it with seed, then whatever's left over we can assume will be the pellet fert that it will take, and we can just add that. Can't see it yet. Hang on. There we go. All right. 720. So 2,000 liters on the fertilizer. So that we can go here and here. Solid fert, 2 of these. Fill that. Before I forget, I'm going to swap this over to sunflower because I will forget. Coffee. Did we... Okay, so we want it to fill. Sir. Refill sower. What's the... Pontus, that's a nitrogen sensor. It's used for grasswork. And as you're driving over a field, it scans it and determines how much nitrogen to apply. So it sort of ties in with precision farming. I don't know why this isn't filling. There it is. Okay. So the trigger's on the front, not the back. Interesting. Right now, I am drinking an iced 4-shot espresso with power creamer, and then I sort of top the rest off with water. So it's like a 4-shot Americano with power creamer. It's not really an Americano because it's got creamer in it. All right. Let's see. Now, as big as this thing is, I don't know how do we want to do this? Let's do one field ourselves manually. Yeah, well, I've been feeling for a long time like life is too short. Like I'm not going to be around long enough to enjoy myself as much as I want to, so I should enjoy myself today. But then I keep not dying, so I don't know how long that's going to last. I'm trying to get all the good stuff done while I can, but then I keep getting more time than I anticipate getting, if that makes sense. All right, now this thing we need to drop it and then hook up to it again. Is that how this works? As I'm driving right across the center of this newly cultivated field. Here we go. All right, and then we're gonna unfold. Oh, hang on. Let's zoom in and watch this animation again. Let me get rid of the HUD. Yeah, I'm really liking the exactly. Although I'm a big fan of street food, and then we want that one. Yeah, I'll eat just about anything. I'm very much in that Anthony Bourdain mindset. You can find good food anywhere, everywhere. So let's try this. If we come back here, and let me see, then we want Control S. Yes. All right, so we'll go auto width. Is this thing really 29 feet wide? Yeah, I guess it is because it's 9 meter. Okay. Guidance steering. Show lines. And then we want set A moment. Gotta go back here. We're on the 216, but we're kicked over a little bit. Let's go right here. 30 degrees. Exactly. There's nothing wrong with a good hamburger. So we want Control S, and we want, I forgot already, was it 30 degrees? So we'll set that. Beautiful. Now, we're going to leave this one as our headland. So we're going to back up to the row next to it. Yeah. Is that right? I think it may be. All right. So we will turn off tram lines. And then we'll turn on guidance steering. All right, we'll turn this thing on. And it says it's going to apply fertilizer. I don't know if it is or not. Let's take a look. Oh, we'll be able to see it in the mini-map. Let's take a look here as well. So that's nitrogen. So this field is already at 180. I don't think it will take anymore, but we'll leave it turned on just the same and see how this works. Okay, am I forgetting anything? Sunflowers. Tram lines turned off. All right, here we go. Slow this down just a little bit. There we are. Very stately. When I moved to Los Angeles, I found out that when you move to Los Angeles, you need to pick a burger chain, and then that's it. You're locked in. And a lot of people go with In-N-Out Burger, naturally. And then some people go with Whataburger. I decided to go with Fat Burger. That became my chain, my brand. All right, so we go right there. Drop. Here we go. Yeah, we've got apply fertilizer turned on. And it's not applying any, so I think this field is not taking any more fertilizer. But I don't know, man. We fertilized it, then we grew potatoes, and the fertilizer level didn't drop. So I'm hoping this save game isn't bugged out. You need to pick a Roscoe's. I don't know what that means. I'm curious, though. Pick a Roscoe's. Yeah, does anybody have any information on why these fields would not be accepting fertilizer? Does it have anything to do with Maize Plus? All right. So we go now here. Drop that. Yeah, 9 meter makes quick work of a field. Obviously, a hell of a lot quicker than working on the Western Shore with 3 meter stuff. And with the heavier horsepower. Now, admittedly, we're not dealing with a hill right now, but the way we were kind of struggling on those big hills in the Western Shore, even with 3 meter equipment, we're going faster and we're covering 3 times the width per pass. So we're going to knock this field out quick. Oh, interesting. Okay, I've not heard that before. That's funny. Hawthorne. I lived in PV. I lived on PV Drive West. Right above Lunata Bay. We're going to put it in gear. Here we go. Yep, I think this is going to work. I think it is. And you know what? Let's see how the seed is going. As we progress here, let's see how the seed is going. But instead of planting everything as sunflower, let's switch it up per field. I never do that either. Once I start planting a crop, I tend to plant like a whole area with that same crop, just to make it easier when we harvest. Let's not do that this time. Let's switch it up a little bit and have a lot of different crops going at the same time. With seasons off, we can do that. So yeah, let's do it. All right. And we've, for what we've done so far, we've used about 20% of our seed. So I think we'll easily finish this field. But what we'll probably do is go back to the barn and refill before we start that field next to us. Hang on. More flutes. Gotta turn those off. I don't know why there's so much flute music on Spotify. It really does seem, you know, as far as the, what would that be, a woodwind instrument? Yeah, they seem overrepresented. A lot of flute music on Spotify. I'm not happy about it. Hawthorne and 140th? Oh, right on. Yep, it was, I loved living in LA, but it was definitely a different kind of experience. I don't know if I would ever want to again, but I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I was there for the time that I was there. I've also got, on the other side, in New York City, Roosevelt Island, there's an old converted asylum on Roosevelt Island called the Octagon. It's been converted to condos. And I don't know why I'm so hung up on living there. And I've mentioned to people who live in New York City, yeah, I want to live on Roosevelt Island. And they get this horrified look like, God, why? I just want to. It's just one of those things. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really my kind of weather. If anything, I like the June gloom and the fog coming in from Catalina more than I like the warmth. I really do prefer cold weather in the mountains. I lived in the desert too long, and I feel like I kind of burned myself out. Like my thermometer needs recalibrated or something. But I find that anytime the temperature is below, oh, probably 40 degrees. I'm very comfortable with that. It's like I can make enough heat myself or something. I don't know. But hot weather doesn't, it's not my favorite anymore. I prefer cold weather. And I just love the mountains. So it could be that because it's typically a lot colder in the mountains, I'm just used to that, or I prefer it now or something. All right, we're at 67%. So we'll definitely have to go refill. And I don't think, even after we refill, I don't think we'll have enough to finish that field. The one to our left right now. So what we'll do is let this run till it's empty and then just tell the hired worker to buy. And I think I'm going to do the... I mean, we could leave these jagged ends down here. Yeah. That's... I don't know. Snow makes everything pretty. It makes everything clean. I think that's one of the appeals. And I like the quiet. Right? After it snows in the mountains, it's just so dead quiet. Long nights, short days. When I lived in Missoula, the sun would come up over the mountains at like 10:30 and would drop behind the mountains on the other side of town at like 2:30. So anytime up till about 9 a.m. and anytime after like 3:30 in the afternoon, it was just about dark. And that's always kind of my favorite time. All right, right there. So we could, yeah, I mean, I was planning on making a headland, so I didn't go all the way to the edge of the field, but we could leave the edges of this field kind of jagged, you know, which would be a little bit more realistic. Now, at something as new as this planter that we're using right now probably does have selective row cutoff because it's all slaved to GPS. So it would have selective row cutoff. You could drive over an area that you had already seeded, and the GPS would know where you were in the field relative to what you'd already planted and cut the appropriate rows so you wouldn't tear anything up. So, I don't know. We'll see. I definitely don't want to go too far the other way. You know, now that we are playing without seasons, I don't want to start just hacking at it, you know? Try to maintain a little bit of authenticity. And here somewhere. Oh, we're going to need to do maintenance on these too at some point. I think in 19 you can do maintenance from the menu. You don't have to drive to the shop. So we may... Well, once we make the turn here. Let's see if we can do that. It's right about up in here somewhere. Not there. So if we go here now... Right there. Yep. Is that it? Right on. So that's all done. And we'll need to get fuel at some point too. Sir? There we go. I know the sunflowers in 17 were heliocentric, but I don't know if the ones in 19 are. I assume that they are. But I always thought that was nice when you had the time sped up that you could watch all the sunflowers pivot to track the sun. Nice detail. And I imagine it uses the same script that they use in the solar panels. And you know what? I forgot about that too. That's the GPS mod. Or I'm sorry, it's guidance steering. So you can set the course that you want to drive on. And then when you... I mean, for me on PC, it's Alt-X. That middle one is green now. So that means that we're locked to that line. So when I drop the tool and... Hang on. When I drop the tool and go on cruise control, the tractor will steer to that line. And as I understand it, that is based on a real system. There is guidance steering and GPS guidance in real life. So it's not entirely unrealistic, but it lets you... If you can calculate the longest axis in an irregular field, it allows you to make all your lengths on the longest axis in a field so you can make the fewest number of turns. And it's made by, I believe it's made by Wobster, who is the same modder that makes vehicle control add-on that I use. So those two work really well together. Let's do like this. It is. It really helps out. And it's not, I mean, like I was just saying about playing realistically, and we certainly take some liberties, but I feel like that sort of thing is used in the real world, so it's not entirely unreasonable that you would use it in-game as well. So if we go here now, we're going to turn this back off, and we'll just do our headland. Okay, steering off. Right there. Drop that. And yeah, well, I'll go ahead and clean these up. I think of this as the it's like we're icing a cake, right? Just drive over everything. But we did, I think we did make an effort to I don't know. We didn't drive through the hedge. We didn't drive right up to the edge of the field. Try to be mindful of it. And there is, like what we're doing right now, you could do this in real life, and as you drove over these areas that were already seeded, the various rows in the planter would lift and cut off, all based on where GPS calculated that you were. And apparently it's accurate enough now that you can resolve it down to like single foot resolution when you're in a field, so it's not necessarily a close enough measurement. It's really, really precise. That's the John Deere Green Star system, I think. And then New Holland has their own proprietary. And I think, if my calculations are correct, we're going to end up right here, come right up here, and here we are at the gate. Beautiful. Don't need no course play. Oh, you know what? Not exactly, though. We do need to go up across the top of the field. So we'll do this as well. Saw that length, or we had left that length on the side of the field. We had left that open because it would be part of our headland. I was getting ahead of myself thinking we would stop as soon as we were done with it, but we've got just the top of the field to go across. All right, and that's us done. That didn't take too long. And I think, yeah, probably the first time in a long time that we've seeded anything with an implement this big. We've been working with small equipment in video and on stream for the longest time. All right. So we'll lift that, turn it off. Where's a good place to do this? Probably right here. So if we unfold, Lower that. Get hooked up. We'll go refill, and then we'll put this on a hired worker in that other field. Keep working on our bales. Then how we doing on time? About 2 hours. Okay. Yeah, I can stick around for, let's say, at least another 30 to 60 minutes. We'll keep rolling. I'm having a good time. I'm really glad that modders have figured out the multi-terrain angle. I think it makes the fields look a lot more, you know, we can see all the sort of swirly patterns. I think it makes them look a lot more realistic than when they, I want to say in 17 it was just the 8 cardinal points. Carefully. Yeah, I am. And you know what? It's, I don't want to, I'm not trying to hide from that. You know, I was never, I never want to be dogmatic about gaming. And if a game changes, I never want to lock myself in that if I didn't like it for one reason, and that reason is no longer valid, that I'm looking for other reasons not to like it. I had some definite complaints about 19 when it first dropped, but if they've addressed them, then, you know, why would we not want to move forward? And I think at some point 17 will be sort of in the category of Richard Burns' Rally. You know, it's an amazing game. It's just old. You know, it's just really, really old. And 17's not that old yet, but it's going to get there. You know, and other parts of the franchise are going to be kept current, and 17 is just not. Yeah, I'd agree with you, Pontus. I think to see it, it's like if you find an old racing game that doesn't have any shadows, right? It's so jarring. And for a time when we didn't have anything to compare it to, that was fine. You know, if you look at old Gran Turismo, it looks like 8-bit, but at the time that was very impressive. Virtually no physics whatsoever. All the handling is, I think, just simple decision tables. There's really not a lot to it, but at the time it was state of the art. Wouldn't be a whole lot of fun to play it now. That's really... There we go. And I think, you know, going back to 13 or 15 now is kind of unthinkable. Maybe you go back to 17, but nobody's going back to 13 or 15. But I think in time, even the idea of playing in 17 will be not quite as appealing as it is right now. Right now, 17 is great, but I think time will pass it by eventually. Yeah, it is, Ernie. Time flies. And it's, you know, when I think about Truck Sim, when I think about ETS, I'm not panicking for them, but I'm mindful of the fact that it's getting to be an old title, you know, and I want it to survive. I want it to succeed, but I don't know what SCS is going to do, because eventually Truck Sim will look 8-bit. Yeah, yep. That's a great way to think of it, Pontus. And even when they brought back Age of Empires, right? The 4K remastered Age of Empires, it's like, come on, man. It's an incredibly well-balanced game, and it's definitely a Hall of Fame title. But I think the reason things like Age of Empires were so popular when they were released is because we didn't have the Total War franchise, right? So when you look at something like Total War and compare it to Age of Empires, it's, to me, Total War is sort of the evolution of Age of Empires. Different company, I know, different manufacturer, developer, but it's the same concept as Age of Empires, but it brings a lot of things that Age of Empires, even the reissue, the Ultimate Edition or whatever they call it, just doesn't have. And I think, you know, the same thing is going to happen with 17 is abandonware. It's not being updated. And when I say that, it's just a fact. I'm not calling anybody out. But it's not being updated. They're not doing anything with it. So where's it going to be in a year or 2 or 5? And that is taking into consideration that Cattle and Crops looks like they're going to be continuing to sort of move the game forward. Giants is going to be doing stuff, whatever it is next. And who knows, maybe somebody else comes along with another farm sim that is better than both of them. Who knows? You know, so I'm just really happy to be in gaming right now. I think it's a fantastic time to be in sim gaming. And I look at some of my titles and I think, oh, you know, I need to play that. I need to keep playing that. I've got money invested in it. It's one of my favorite games. I need to keep playing that. And I think, you know, why would you feel that way? You don't have to if you don't want to. Feel free to move on to something else. And it's an odd feeling. I feel like some of these games are, oh, that's nice. It gave us 28 automatically. I know it didn't. Never mind. I thought it did that automatically, but this is the last field we worked in with courseplay. This thing is wide, so we'll only let's do 1 headland pass. I think that's all we need. Start working on rows. 9 meters. I mean, is that right? Field center up, down. Start field 28. Something seems not right. Let's take a look. No. I'm no expert, but I'm thinking that's not okay. So if we go here now, let's try again. If this doesn't work, we can put it on a dumb worker. All right. Or really. Field 28. I'm really curious now. I'm gonna take a couple swings at this and see if we can get it sorted out. We are there. Okay. We do own field 28. Okay. So we go to course generate. Do we just need to be further in? Let's try that. Start from the other gate, maybe. That's very strange. Courseplay is 100% my most favorite, least favorite mod. Oh, easy player. All right, so if we go here now. Ah, right? That's all it took. Why did those look, hang on. Why did those look off-center, uneven? Nope. No tool offset, no lane offset. Okay. I mean, if they say they're good, I'll trust them. Turn that off. And our start point is, of course, all the way on the other side of the field. Let's head down there. And this does look, I would say, it looks like a more simple course than the one that we did last time with the, what do we have on our cultivator? Oh, interesting. Okay, this little area right here didn't get cultivated. When we had the cultivator on courseplay, it didn't do this part. All right. As wide as this thing is, I can't really get out onto the grass, so we are driving on our field. Man, I want soil compaction. But I know when we finally get soil compaction, it's going to be challenging. That's a good word for it. It's going to be tricky. Because we're so used to, or at least I'm so used to, you know, we never have to deal with that. All right, let's try to get lined up here. It's going to be over here, right about there. All right, so we can get rid of that. Get rid of that. There you go. Get rid of all that. We'll start at first waypoint. Stop at last point activated. Return to first point deactivated. Get to work. We want, is it here? Or would it be? Looking for the setting for apply fertilizer. I'm not seeing it. Okay. Let's see how they do. We'll let them run a couple lengths just to confirm that everything's working well, sir. So realistic. Cattle crops, next few updates. Yeah, agreed. I want to see a new map. I think that's the biggest thing for me is that map. I don't find that map to be very interesting, period. But the fact that it's the only map, I think just makes it, it's rough. You know, to just have that one small area to farm in. Not very pretty. Not a whole lot going on. So I think a new map is going to be key. And it's got to be a good map, too. It can't just be, you know what I mean? It can't just be a reskin. Oh, you know what? We need to buy, I don't think we own this thing. Is it here? Is it here? Oh, never mind. We're not running seasons. I was looking for the Wobster analysis tool. Cattle and crops need more equipment. Yeah, I think so. I think they're trapped, honestly. I think they're an early access game that is being sold right now as a full title. How do we want to do this? Let's do this. Let's hop in the class. I'm seeing that pop up top left. Fruit type wet grass windrow. I'm guessing that has something to do with Maize Plus. I've never seen it before, but I don't know if that means... No. You couldn't put a worker out here and tell them to do stuff with this row and they would figure it out. I don't think the AI is that sophisticated. I think they can only follow a path. They can follow an edge if there's a crop in the field, but I feel like they can do that because the field then has two states, right? There's the part that has crop in it and the part that does not, so it can detect the edge between them. But I think asking the AI to see the rows in a field would just be more than it could cope with. Ponus, I really think that is a cultural thing. I feel like there's when you look at the difference between the way UK map makers and British style map makers build their maps and the way German map makers build their maps, I feel like it really is just a cultural thing. And it's not bad. I'm not taking sides or saying one is right, the other is wrong. It's nothing like that. I think it's just a different way of gaming, a different way of life in different cultures. That it's like scripting. Germans are all about scripting in maps, and you see a little bit of scripting from UK modders, but not a ton. I think it really is just a different way of approaching gaming. Once again, I left the gate open. I will have to remember that when we get cows. And man, I don't know why. Well, it could be because I'm truly the only person who feels this way, but I don't know why nobody's come up with a mod so far that says if the state of a gate is 0, right? 0 for open, 1 for closed. If the state of a gate, or if the total of the gates around a cattle yard or a sheep yard or whatever, if there are 8 of them and the total count is less than 8, it means 1 is open. And if that is the case, then you lose your animals at a rate of whatever per hour. I would love it if leaving gates open had consequences. I think that'd be a nice detail. So yeah, Ponus, I agree with you. I think German maps have a very, well, sort of serious, linear 90-degree turns, right? I always think of them as being sort of stylized. It's like they're not meant to necessarily look realistic. They're just meant to look very sort of neat and orderly. Clinical. That's a perfect word. Yeah, they don't necessarily have any life to them. And even the alpine farming map has kind of a like a storybook look to it, fairy tale look. It's very idealized, but it's not necessarily realistic. And again, that's not right or wrong. It's just the difference in the way those maps are laid out. So I think the Cattle and Crops map, the Albertal map that we have, having been made by German modders or a German developer, I think it's just sort of consistent with that methodology, that it's got kind of a clean look to it. And clean can be kind of bland sometimes. Right through there, and we want this in... we already selected? Certainly are. Okay, let's get these out of the way. And then we'll hop back on the rake. And I don't have... Do I have Glance running? Hang on, let me take a look. I don't. So we'll need to monitor to see when the John Deere runs out of seed. And they may or may not. Because field 27, looking here. Yeah, field 27 is pretty big. We use 65% of the tank for field 27. So then the question is field 27 2/3 the size of field 28? I'd say they're almost pretty close to the same size. So I think there may be enough seed in the tool right now to finish all of field 28. But if for some reason it does run out, we'll get the warning, and then we can either refill manually or just put it on the buy feature. Oh, no worries. No worries, Big B. All right, so we got a little room now, and I'll pull this up over and across the top and put it on the other side. So then we'll have room at the end of the rows to make the turns with the rake. All right. So we'll get this out of the way. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 bales just from the headland. These fields aren't super big, so we'll probably only get like 3 lengths once we row it all up, 3 or 4. But that's something, you know? I'll take it. All right, back to the JCB. I have to say, this is so relaxing. Wow, a lot of stutter right through there. I don't know how I feel about that. I have to say, this is so relaxing compared to Western Shore. I love Western Shore, you know that. It's the best map I've seen. Arguably, it's a perfect map. But this is so different and so relaxing. I don't know if it's having seasons off. I don't know if it's just cheating in some money and using whatever equipment we want, but this is a lot of fun. All right, turn that on. Here we go. What did we say, about 3 rows? Yeah. 3, maybe 4. Not too many. And then we've got, yep, 1 more grass field there. That, I think that'll probably do it, because where are we at? 2:15. 2 hours, 15 minutes. Yeah, I think once we get everything sorted out and cleaned up, taken back to the barn, yep, hopefully we'll be around 3 hours. Yeah, it's, man, what a year 2020 was. And 2021 is turning into. It's March will be a full year. We've all been sort of dealing with this and living with this, and it's, I don't know. It's like we've all gone through the arcs. Now, in fairness, this wasn't that big a deal for me because I do work from home. I have a home office, and I'm kind of I love people. I think people are awesome, but I prefer them from a distance. So social distancing, being kind of an introvert anyway, that really wasn't a big deal for me. But I know it was a big deal for a lot of people. I don't have any family, so there was no problem there as far as like holidays or anything. So it was a different experience for me to be on lockdown, and for the past year, or in March it'll be a year, but it's been different for me than I know it has been for a lot of other people. And even for me, it's been, at the very least, it's been a huge pain in the ass. But I feel like we've all gone through some stages. Initially it's like, I could do this, and then a little while later it's like, no, I'm going crazy, I can't do this. And then after that, you kind of shrug, what are you gonna do? But I think we're all changed by it. It's a pretty big deal. Have I tried Erlingrad? It sounds like a map. Is that a farm sim map? Yeah, it's definitely strange. And I don't know if we're going to look back on this years later. I don't know if we're going to look back on it the way people look back at the Depression, the original Depression, or if it's going to be more like the way people look at, I don't know, World War II. Alpine expansion map? Yeah, just briefly to test out the soil testing equipment. And when I think about Altenstein, or what's the other one? Herman's Eck. They're similar. I would think of both of those as mountain maps. There we go. I would think of both of those as mountain maps, but they seem a lot grittier than the one that comes with the Alpine expansion. Anything base game just seems so sanitized. PTSD lockdown, yeah. It's you hear people say, well, because we're all going through this together, how do we want to do this? Let's back out. Because we're all going through this together, that somehow makes it more tolerable or something. And it's like, yeah, no, it doesn't. If a bunch of people are getting punched in the face at the same time, it doesn't make getting punched in the face any better. We can all commiserate about it later, put a stake on my eye while you put a stake on your eye. But the fact is that, this just sucks for everybody. Being able to relate to somebody else who's having a terrible time doesn't make my time any better. Yeah, exactly, Big B. And I've seen some memes about, it's basically World War II propaganda. Might be too strong a word for it, but some of the rah-rah posters, little Timmy's on a scrap drive, that sort of stuff, recaptioned with people just bitching about COVID stuff. And I think it does make an interesting counterpoint. Now, in fairness, history gets written by the winners. So I don't know how many people during World War II were like, F this, man. I'm not driving my car every other day. That's ridiculous. We look back on it now, golden age, and everybody was on the same team, and we were all working together, and, rose-colored glasses. I don't know how many people in that era were really not happy about things, but to see those images recaptioned with people complaining about COVID limitations and restrictions, I thought was pretty appropriate and pretty telling, because we are a lot of people, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people, we're pretty soft. Our expectations are awfully high, and when they're not met, we get very cranky very quickly. All right, so we'll turn this on. Drop. There we are. I will do the same thing as we did on the other field. We'll go one time around, make a headland, then we'll drop the trailer, bring the Colossus up with the baler, get the headland baled, then get it picked up and on the trailer, and then we'll row up the rest of this, and then bale the rest of it all at once. Yeah, I think it was both rationing, and if anybody from the UK is here and you can speak to this, please do. But I want to say not just rationing, but even things like the weight of vehicles because of how fuel would be used. It really did kind of alter the... You hearing this? It's the flute song. This playlist is 13 hours long. It plays this flute song about every 8 minutes. All right, there we go. But the way vehicles were taxed based on how much fuel they used influenced car design in Britain in the 50s and 60s. There you go. Had to get rid of the flutes. So you don't necessarily think about that, but you know, all the ways that the sort of bureaucratic minutia of a culture can impact the day-to-day living within that culture. So things like, yeah, you know, our cars need to be under a certain weight or we're going to tax the hell out of them. All right, well then we'll design cars that look like this, you know, and you end up with all kinds of cascading effects and trickle down. Stuff like that fascinates me. The sociology of not crisis, but stuff. You know what I'm saying. Rationing in Sweden? Yeah. It's... I don't know, man. I think the internet has really... Oh, that's nice lighting. With the sun starting to set over there. What time is it? About 5:30 in game? Oh, hello. You got a little balloon action. Beautiful. I think that's some of the stuff that... Because I can see from here, I can see John Deere and Klaas. I don't know what the other three are, but I think that's some of the licensing stuff that Giants wanted Oxy to take out of the game. Take him straight out the game. And where's our gate? Oh, it's right here. I think the internet really has made us... it's made us feel very, very passionately about our individualism, whether we recognize that consciously or not. I feel like the internet has made everybody their own legend, and so the idea of cooperating with people that you might not like or might not agree with has just become unthinkable. Whereas at really maybe every other time in history, if you wanted to survive, you had to cooperate, and now we've just become such whether we are or not, we really believe ourselves to be these extraordinary individuals who don't need any help and don't have to cooperate with anybody. But sometimes the greater good requires us to all be on the same team, and we just don't like that anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, and being in marketing, being in advertising, I like it. I like the history of it, and so I wouldn't say that I necessarily study it, but I just have a lot of, you know, anecdotal stuff about marketing and advertising, and you hear the things that Edward Bernays did when he came to the U.S., and you know, the egg board and the corn syrup board, and how these organizations hire an ad agency to basically tell people, or in some cases trick people into doing things. And one of the things that the egg and bacon people did was they literally created the idea that Americans have a massive hearty breakfast. It used to be, like, back in the day, breakfast was a piece of toast and a cup of coffee. And that went away, right? There was a conscious effort to make people believe that, no, you had to have this 1,400 calorie breakfast. And here we are, you know, going on 100 years later, and 3/4 of the country is overweight. So, yeah, it's sometimes the things that we should be doing, we won't do. And if we're forced to do them, even though we know that they're good for us, we want to do them even less. So... I don't know how rationing would work out. I mean, we're really struggling to deal with some of this COVID stuff right now, and it doesn't seem that intrusive. But if you've got somebody whispering in your ear about how it's the end of the world to do this or to do that, you know, if you want to believe that anyway, it doesn't take a lot of convincing. Century of Self. All right, that's another one I need to add to my list. What makes a good map? I would say if it takes you away. I know that's kind of vague, you know, and a little bit kind of hand wavy, but I think if it's a map that just can transport your mind to a different feeling, that works for me. And I think about the maps at PGR Bruzda, I think is probably the moodiest map that I've ever been on. It's almost depressing to be on PGR Brewster because it's massive, it's completely empty, and it seems like it's dark a lot. I wouldn't say it's my favorite map to play, but it can give you a feeling. So like a book or a movie or a piece of music, you might not be able to list a specific set of criteria. For me, I'd say if it can just make you feel a certain way, to me, that's what makes a good map. Yeah, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Man, what Edward Bernays did for Betty Crocker. Betty Crocker started making pre-made cake mix. I want to say in the post-war years, after World War II, and it came from the freeze-dried food concept that was pioneered to feed the troops to get stuff overseas without spoiling. And somebody said, well, hey, this is, you just add water. There you go. Add water, put it in a pan, and you make a cake. And sales were not doing well. So Edward Bernays, evil genius that he was, told Betty Crocker, change the directions and tell people to add an egg and a little bit of oil. And they were like, it doesn't need an egg and a little bit of oil. And he said, trust me, I'm Edward Bernays. So they did, and sales picked up. And they asked him, you know, what was the deal with doing that? It's completely unnecessary. And he said, it gives people the illusion that they're baking, because this was a time when the ability of a person to bake was a life skill. That was something that you wanted people to know you could do, right? It's like fixing your car, right? It was something that everybody had to do. And so if you could do it, that made you a better citizen. And so the idea that this cake mix is going to do all the work for me, no, I don't want that. I know how to bake. So Edward Bernays said, just give them the illusion that they're baking. Same convenience, right? Just wrap it in a little bit of illusion. So yeah, people are, they're awesome. I love people, but man, we're something else. Just a collection of absolute misfits. All right, so there is the John Deere needs to be refilled. Let's see how far done they are and where we are on time. 2 hours, 30 minutes. Perfect. We'll finish up this row. We'll go check on the John Deere. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's what exactly did Edward Bernays do before he came to the U.S.? Yeah, we don't talk about that. That's we're going to keep that on the low. All right, so park this right up here. Leave it running because it's been hot. Oh, Century of the Self is about Bernays? Hell yeah, man. I didn't even see that. Yeah, that was his other thing, was the suffragette movement. That you're not a good feminist, you're not a good suffragette if you don't give yourself lung cancer. What kind of a feminist are you? Where is it? I need to bring this back up. There it is. Yeah, he was amazing. I did not know Century of Self was about Bernays. That's funny. So if we, he's got, looks like working on the headland now. So if we go here, as soon as we do this, he should like snap back to life. So we'll go here. Buy seed. There we go. There he goes. It's a map I can get lost in. There you go. Yeah, well said, Ernie. And what was his other one? There was another one he did. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't him. But I read a history of the suffragette movement, and one of the things that really it made me very happy and very sad was the suffragette movement. Big portions of it, like the first wave of feminism, were financed by massive corporations, and it's like, whoa, hang on now. Why would corporations run by ultra conservative people in that era, why on earth would they be interested in feminism? And the answer was they weren't. They just wanted to double the workforce to drive down wages. And that was the era when any work that could be done by women, corporations wanted to be done by women because they could pay so much less. So anything in an office, right? Anything that didn't require physical strength, lifting, endurance, that sort of stuff. And it's like, God, as cynical as I get, I still can't keep up with the terrible things that people do to one another. They are amazing. Yeah, exactly, Big B. It's and that's what I do. But when you watch something like Thank You for Smoking, which is, it's one of those movies that it's very funny, but you're laughing so you don't start crying. But watch something like Thank You for Smoking and realize that's just about accurate, right? That's really how it's done. And fortunately, I've never had to work with that type of client, and I've never had to design that type of campaign. I have, I guess, the luxury of working for clients that I believe in, that sell things that are good, you know, but there's definitely a fine line. You know, I've done a lot of projects for small restaurants, and, you know, are they serving the healthiest food? Do people really need that? And it's not my call. You know, I don't get to decide that, but I hope at the end of the day that I have not contributed to some of that really sort of terrible behavior that we inflict on one another as people. How much are incorporated? How much are included? Unless that's a typo. Oh, I got you. Okay. Right through here, very carefully. I got you. No worries. And I think, yeah, our guy is on the headlands, so he's going to get caught up some stuff. We'll pick these bales up. I think we may be able to get almost all of them on the trailer, and then we'll go deal with the John Deere again. I think the best take on socialism in America, man, I'm so close. I'm right on the edge of talking about politics, but I'm not talking about politics. I'm not taking any sides. For me, one of the funniest arguments about socialism in the United States is trying to explain to people we're already a socialist country, and you love it and you want it to stay that way. You know, people that are so opposed to the idea of socialism don't seem to realize we're already there, and they don't seem to realize what this country would look like without those programs. It's like people who worship capitalism, and you tell them, you know, the United States is not a capitalist country, not by any means. Let's just hop this hedge. But you don't want it to be. If it was, we'd all be working for Standard Oil. We'd all be working for U.S. Steel. All right. You know, we've got all these anti-monopoly protections, and you want them to be in place. Without it, it's a pretty miserable world. And starting in the robber baron era, if that was not brought under control, it just would have got worse and worse and worse. Let's see how much is left in this field. So no, we're not a capitalist country. There's so many restrictions and regulations. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Damn it, man. I just deleted my course. Okay. So let's see what still needs done on this field. I think it's really easy for people to sort of wish for something and understand that, oh, that's interesting. It's like it didn't plant under the wheels. Oh, that's that's part of Maze Plus. Okay, so it looks like the only areas that we're missing in this field are these little wedges down along here, a little bit right up the side here, and then across the top. All right, let's do this. I don't even know how to do this now. Yeah, it's I think there's a type of person, there's a type of personality that's just really nervous with the idea that anybody is going to take advantage of them, to the point that they want to take advantage of that person first, if that makes sense. I saw a hedge fund manager, I don't know if you followed the GameStop thing, but I saw a hedge fund manager absolutely flipping out that he shorted GameStop, and people, for lack of a better word, manipulated the market, and it cost him hundreds of millions of dollars. And he's saying, like, you can't do that. You can't manipulate markets. And it's like, settle down, suspenders. Come on now. That's what you've been doing for years. You know, algorithmic trading, sub-second trading, intra-second trading. Regular people can't compete with that. Hedge fund managers have completely rigged the stock market in their favor. And the one time that they have to get a haircut, they start freaking out, right? They want Robinhood closed down. They want a do-over. They basically want the share value of GameStop to be reversed, right? You know who I'm talking about, Big B. You know that guy. They want a do-over. They want the share price of GameStop to be restored to what it was when they were about to make a bunch of money from it. And I think, come on, man. You have got to be joking. All the stocks that you've pumped and dumped in your life, all the people that you've ripped off, all the mom and pop investors that you've bankrupted in your life, and suddenly manipulating markets is the worst thing ever? Shut up, man. Just get out of here. So I think that's the opposition to socialism in the United States. The idea that this is all zero sum. And if you're doing well, it means I'm doing badly. Therefore, you have to do badly so I can do well. And that's not the case at all. I mean, we can't all be identically wealthy at the same time. I think inflation might become a problem, but I think it's possible that, you know, you could blow up your rotator cuff and get that fixed without having to file bankruptcy. That doesn't mean that a CEO is suddenly like living on bologna sandwiches. We can have both those things at the same time. Yeah, exactly. Only I get to make money from this. And it's not the economics of it. There is some zero sum in there. Some zero sum. Me talk pretty. There is an aspect of zero sum in finance and money and capitalism. I get that. So it's not like everybody can be equally wealthy. But it doesn't need to be so mercenary that only one person gets to make money, and if anybody else is making money, I feel cheated. No, man, we can all try to figure this out. Yeah, I love that. I love when people that are absolute laissez-faire, hardcore hyper-capitalists are suddenly pro-regulation when something impacts their income, right? Suddenly, Mr. Deregulate wants laws passed. So, I mean, we're all hypocrites. I think healthy people can admit it and laugh about it. Try to find some middle ground to meet at. And people that don't have a healthy mindset can't recognize their own hypocrisy and can only spot it in other people and point it out. So we all want what we want. There's nothing wrong with it. It's okay to be honest about it. When I hear people talk about insider trading, somebody got busted for insider trading, it's such a laughable term to me because it's all insider trading. I mean, nobody invests $5 million on a hunch. Nobody invests $5 million because they feel good about a small company. You've got to know that stock is going up or you don't do it. So it's all insider trading. And the idea of, you can only trade on public information, you can only trade on this, you can only trade on that. It should be a given. That should just be assumed that if you're making a large purchase of stock, that you have some inside information. And that's why the market is essentially rigged. Because regular citizens don't have access to that information. Thinking the world is a horrible place? I mean, it is. It is, but it's arguably less horrible than it's ever been at any point in human history. And we're still, once we get hooked up here, I'll check this out. I want to make sure we're still on Sunflower. And I want to check something else too, because we did drive back and forth on this seeded area a little bit. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be tram lines or if it's just reduced yield, but you see all these tire tracks on these fields. I know that's coming from Maize Plus, but I don't know if that crop is completely destroyed or if it's just going to be reduced. I guess we'll find out once we bring this stuff up. The nice thing is we don't have to wait like a month and a half in real time and go through half a dozen live streams to see a crop. We could speed up time and have it tomorrow morning if we wanted, but I'm not going to because we're going to have to spray for weeds. I think I'm going to leave them on for one more cycle, and then we'll go ahead and turn them off. Yeah, it's like Iceland. There's as many people as Iceland as there are in Brooklyn. And Iceland they are very upfront about the fact that they're not interested. I think I've got all the friends I need right now. I'm not looking for any new friends. Oh dear, did we just hit a tree? Potentially. Slide over a little bit, fix this overlap. Yep, I spent a weekend in Iceland, and I would love to live there. But they have absolutely no need for ill will. They got that covered. And I think I told you this. I spoke to a Swiss attorney about Swiss citizenship, and he wasn't like laughing at me, but he was laughing at the idea of it. And he kind of explained the process to me, but he essentially told me there is no possibility. There's zero possibility of you ever becoming a Swiss citizen. And I was like, well, what if I threw a bunch of money at the problem? And he was like, A, you're not the first person to think of that. And B, number two, you don't have that much money. There are more people in this world with a ton of money. Let's go, do we have four-wheel drive in this vehicle? Oh, we want left control, and then, there we go. Oh yeah, feel the power. He said there are more people in the world who want to live in Switzerland who have a lot of money than there are slots available for people in Switzerland. It's just, the waiting list is long. And Iceland, I feel, is, it's that, like, times 10. It's just such a tiny little country with such a very limited population. They're good. Yeah, they don't need any new friends. Icelandic, yeah. They are an extremely literate people. They're very, very polite. And my experience is limited. It was about 72 hours that I was there, but I found the people to be absolutely delightful. I wouldn't say sour, but very friendly, but very clear boundaries. They all seem very intelligent, very literate, very erudite, well-read, thoughtful, balanced, just exactly the kind of people that I would love to spend time interacting with. And I find it just unbelievably ironic that the things that make them so appealing, the things that make people want to move there, one component of that personality is also an understanding that they really don't want anybody to move there. Did I say Sweden? If I did, I apologize. Yeah, the other SW country. So we'll drop that. Yeah, cautious, private, very gracious and very friendly. But I think the fact that there was a time limit on our interaction solved that problem for them. That there was no possibility of me permanently becoming their problem. Swaziland. I met a guy in Oklahoma City. He had an unusual accent, and I asked him, because I couldn't quite place it. It wasn't exactly South Africa. And I asked him, where are you from? And he gave me kind of a hard look, and he said, Rhodesia. And I was like, all right, so this conversation is clearly over. Thank you for clarifying. I'll just leave now. Oh, I got you, Pontus. When I was talking about speaking to that Swiss attorney, I do, when I'm multitasking like this and in the sim and reading the chat and everything else, sometimes I do mix my words up. So I was just curious if I had, at some point, said Sweden instead of Switzerland. If I did, I do apologize. I was playing Shamrock Valley, and I referred to it as a UK map. And what I meant by that was a UK style map, a British style map, like we're on now, hedges and tight lanes and that sort of thing. And I got a very direct comment in the chat that Ireland is not part of the UK. So, point taken. Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to place his accent, but his response to that was, he struck me, and this was a couple of years ago, so he struck me as a person who was not over it yet, and that went down, what, 1970s, 1980s? All right. I'll just, I'll get my coat. I'll be on my way. Trainway building game, what's it called? And I think, where are we at? 47 minutes? Oh, this is perfect. Yeah, they are. And I didn't want to get into it with him to ask him, was there family property? Was there a farm or something? Like, it was many years on. It still seemed very raw to him, so I just let it go. NIMBY rails, right on. If that's the NIMBY I'm thinking of, that's a very clever name they came up with. There's another good one. I don't know if you've ever tried it. It's called Cities in Motion. It's by, is it Paragon or Paradox? Whoever makes City Skylines. Cities in Motion, and it's essentially just the public transport aspect of City Skylines. And then everything else is automated. So you just build the infrastructure and buy the trains, the trams, whatever, set the routes. And then if you have adequate service to an area, the city builds itself. .2D map for the entire world. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's what it might be, Big B. I mean, NIMBY is an amazing coincidence for a railroad builder. So somebody's got a sense of humor. Build rails all over the world. Interesting. Is it, now, you said it's 2D. Are the areas that you build in, is there anything unique about them? So is it like regional? Do you build one type of railroad in one part of the world and another in another part of the world? What do we want to do? We need, we got to fill 12 minutes. So let's do this. I'm going to put this right in here. And then we're going to run over. We'll get in the class. We'll bring those bales back, drop them here. What? Hang on a minute. Where's our weight? Uh-oh. Hang on. Oh, man. My OCD is having a fit right now. Where's our weight? Uh-oh. Hang on. Hopefully I don't go into a full-blown meltdown here. Fragile Frankie Merman. Let me see. Scout, Dolomite. What color would our weight be? Bale fork, shovel. Some stuff under here. Where would I put that weight down? Oh, right on, Fried. I will check it. We didn't sell it, did we? Oh, you know what? We might have. We might have when I was doing all those repairs. Moment. Yeah, I think I may have fat-fingered that and sold it. Yep, I bet that's what happened. Okay. Yep, sure did. Okay. So we'll go here now. Here, trapped in my own barn. We'll go here. We'll reset the store delivery. We'll buy another weight. It's in the description, Ernie. There should be a link to it. And we want to go weights, and we want to go the 1800. Yeah, I think we can go with the 1800 because every time we put something heavy on here, I do see the front wheels get light. So we'll do that. We'll reset that. I think I posted the link. I try to post it in every live stream, but there's like this weird moment where the stream is live, the countdown is going on, but I don't... But I don't have anything. It's just odd using XSplit. It's like you have to start the stream before you can put the description in. So the stream has to technically be live before I can give it a title. And I try to do everything as quickly as possible and get all the cut and paste in there for the description. So I do forget it sometimes. Yep, no worries. All right, so there's that. I did say I needed to fill 12 minutes. Now 9 minutes. All right. And we've got a little room in here. A little room at the end. Yeah, we could probably put those. Let's move this now. We can probably put those right along this wall. There we go. And this thing. Here. Put it over here. Hey, Stan, if you're still around... I think this is the bale sell point right here. Anytime you see bales stacked up on the map, but stacked up like this, if that makes sense, that typically indicates a bale sell point. Not always, but you'll see, I don't know, they just look odd. You know, who stacks bales like this? Typically that indicates a trigger, and the other would be, we need to run over to the cloth, so we'll just pass it on the way. But the other type of like decorative stack of bales would look more like, I know there's one down here, they got black wrappers on them. So this is a decorative static stack of bales, but that other stack in the barn, normally that's how you spot the bale sell point. Or you'll see like straw scattered around or something, not 100%, but very often. And then the other thing, like I said, is you can just go here, and you can see where they're buying bales. And so yeah, Chellington Farm Barn. And if we put the marker on it, where's the beam? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, no, so it's not up there, it's down below. All right, disregard everything I just said. Here's the bale sell point. All right. Untag, there we go. Does anybody not know about this? I found out about this, I'd probably been playing the game, I don't know, 7 years, 14 years when I found it. Like if you saw something and you couldn't spot it in real life, you could tag it right there. All right, Big B, thanks for stopping by, I appreciate you. Thanks for keeping the chat lively. And I'm going to be wrapping up here in oh God. I'm going to be wrapping up here in a few minutes anyway, so the timing is perfect. Appreciate you, brother. All right, so we'll go right up here. Yeah, this isn't too bad. as far as teleporting, not teleporting. And I think I'll do this field off camera. We'll make this our hay field. Or you know what? Maybe I won't do it off camera. Maybe I won't. Because what I can do is, let me see, we did grasswork. And we did some cultivating and we did some seeding today, planting. So maybe what we'll do is, yeah, maybe we'll just come back next time and sort of do the same thing because we've got 2 or 3 more arable fields. We've got 1 more grass field. Yeah, let's do that. But we'll switch it up next time. We'll leave that 9 meter parked, that 9 meter planter. Maybe we'll go with a smaller Cavernaland rig because those other fields are slightly smaller. So we've got, there's 27 and 28. We've got 25. Oh, 120 is a grass field too. We can mow that. 25 is a lot smaller, and then 121 is smaller. And 34, for some reason, it's not tagged that way on the mini map, but 34 is a grass field as well. Favorite tractor? Probably the Ford T-Dub. I really like those for some reason. I'm a bit of a Ford fan in general, but I like the era. I like the horsepower. It checks a lot of my boxes, as they say. I really like that rig. And we've got, yeah, so there's what, 18 on here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 times 2 is 18. And we've got 4 rows there. We'll probably get 4 rows out of this one. If we get 1.5 per row, that's 6, 12. I don't know. I feel like we're going to get more than that. We're probably going to get total maybe 30 bales out of these fields. All right, that works. And then we'll do the other 2 grass fields that we have left. We'll use those for hay bales in case we go with sheep. Okay, so that works out. Yeah, I'll leave those in the next episode. We will do more mowing and more baling, but there'll be hay bales instead. And I guess we could get a bigger mower. I mean, I like that one. I do, but we can go, yeah, that's from the Cavernaland pack. We can go with bigger Cavernaland mowers. Oh, and I did not. I'm concerned about losing my save game. And I feel like the way we were sort of grinding through those potatoes, I don't necessarily want to do that again. But if I start again, we lose all our bales. Do you know what's different in the update? Is it worth getting, or is it bug fixes, or is there anything significantly different? Driving very carefully here. It is worth it. Oh, do you know if you need a new save game? Okay, thanks, Owen. I appreciate it. Yeah, if we can save this save game, I mean, I probably should do it regardless because we don't have that many hours. Hang on, let me take a look here. See how many hours. Man, it better not be some crazy number. Protectors. Where are we at? 8 hours. I mean, that's not bad. It does need a new save game. You know what? It's all just farming. It's all just farming. What I can do is... Well, you know what? That could work out. That could work out perfectly, because if this save game is bugged out and we can't fertilize, then we need to start a new save game anyway. So, you know what I mean? No big loss. It needs a new save game, but reading the Discord, some people had a workaround. Okay, I'll take a look. Yeah, I think the next thing would be, let's see if we can get any fertilizer going on this save game. If we can't, then we are bugged out and we'll have to start again anyway. All right. I'm going to leave this right here for a minute. Let's get this other door open. I think we moved everything away from the entrance here, so I think we should be able to get in here. Yep. I would say either one is okay at this point. We can create a new save game if we have to, and if we can save this one and preserve it, that works too. Because with buy bales, yeah, I mean, with buy bales, I'm guessing I could restore everything that we have right now as far as bringing all the equipment up to the yard with store delivery. That wouldn't take long at all. Getting everything put away, that wouldn't take long. And then bringing these bales in, that wouldn't take long either. And technically, we don't really need the bales until we... Let me see, we want now... unload bales. And then we're going to go over here. As if by magic. Drop those right there. That's not quite close enough. So let's reposition. Oh, pardon me. I was reading the chat and drove directly into a wall. Fantastic. Remove bin near field 122 issue with Pine Creek cow trigger. You know what? That sounds. I'm not there yet, but that sounds like a kind of a big issue, particularly if we get into MP. So yeah, I should probably do that. Issue with Pine Creek. Yeah. Yeah, if we were to bring this map in for MP, then I would need to have the updated version to fix those bugs. I would need to have, and we want left button Y. I would need to have the new version to fix those bugs for MP, and I don't want to have 2 copies of the map just for one old save game on SP. So I'll get the new one downloaded. I'll either recreate this or we'll start again fresh next stream and just start over. I mean, it's all just farming, right? It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's all just farming. All right, beautiful. Let me turn this off. And that is 3 hours and 1 minute. Perfect. I love it when it works out this way. There you have it. Sun's going down. Next stream, we'll do ETS tomorrow. Somebody was asking about that. Let's do some truck tomorrow. Oh, no worries. No worries at all. We'll do ETS tomorrow. I got that Renault reskinned, and I got that Krona B tandem. So that'll be a fun rig to drive. And then Monday we'll be, I guess, back on Chellington. Caden, what's happening? The timing. Timing is not good. We're just wrapping up. Sorry, brother. So we'll do ETS tomorrow. We'll be back on Chellington on Monday, either with a new save game or if I can somehow save this save game for the update. Try to do that. All right. Thanks, everybody. Y'all are awesome. I do appreciate you doing this with me. It's a lot of fun. I'm done, Caden. I'm sorry, man. 1 p.m. Eastern, almost every day is my start time. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow. Good night.